So, there needs to be, where the rubber hits the road is right livelihood, right action, and right speech, and all these wonderful things that the Buddha had to say. But, there's a lot of cowardice, and there's a lot of laziness, and there's a lot of misinformation that's led to people just being distracted and unattentive to what really needs to be done, and that's your own personal transformation and awakening. Once that happens, then everything else kind of falls in line, because then you get it. But if you're sitting here getting angry at BP or getting angry at George Bush or whoever it is and thinking that you're doing your part, wake up, right? Because guess what? It's still moving. It's still going on. Bush is out of office. No, BP is doing this. And it won't end.
Yeah, and so the wars have been going on for thousands of years. And they project, another 500 years that they can stretch all these current wars out to. So, but my own personal feeling about that is that before that could even happen, there's going to be a global financial meltdown, and that will force people, I think, to seriously consider what it is that's important in life.
Yeah. God willing. God willing. I have actually been guardedly optimistic about this whole process here because, and there's some indicators, Americans aren't being so stupid in their spending and people are being a bit more frugal and all these types of things. But it's one of those aha moments, right? I have this in my clinic all the time where someone comes in and is just at a breaking point, and what you really need to do is wake them up. You have to slap them. So it's like the Zen teacher coming around with a stick and just smacking the disciple in the head with it.
Right.
Something needs to happen to snap people out of it, and whether it's a global economic crisis or what have you, I don't know, but I hope that will. I mean, the knowledge that all this is happening and it's happening as we speak is obviously not enough, right?
Exactly.
I have a good example. I have a patient who would come in. He had back pain. He'd come in and I'd say, listen, I can fix this back pain every time you come in and tweak it out, but you're 60 pounds overweight, so we need to talk about weight loss. Oh, I'm too busy. I'm this, I'm that. I'm, busy attorney just doing his thing. And I understand, we've all got our circumstances, right?
Right,
Cholesterol goes up, doc throws some beta blockers at him. I'm going to still keep going. I'm going to still keep going. And so, I'm sitting here watching this compliance nightmare thinking, how do you get across to this guy? And the next day he comes in and next time he comes in and he's considerably lighter and he's joined some weight loss program and all these things happen. I say, hey man, what gives? I've been jumping up and down with my pom-poms here for 6 months trying to get you to wake up, snap out of this thing. And so it turns out, he'd been going to this particular fast food restaurant for a number of years, and then he got so busy that instead of going in, he started going in the drive-thru. And so one day he had enough time, so he parked the car, he went in there, and the girl who had been serving him a while back took one look at him and said, no more for you, go home. And this is an $8 an hour employee at some, fast food chain who basically cut this guy off. And he was a powerful attorney, all of a sudden he was so flabbergasted, he was so floored that it was enough to drop his jaw and make this guy stop eating like a pig, right? And so this is what the world needs, right? Yeah. The world needs some random slap in the face and say, come on, right? And so this is what needs to happen in terms of where my teaching is and what my energies have been going towards is, look, I don't want a big following. I don't want a bunch of people joining the Pedram cult. I'm actually more of a private guy. The only reason I did any of this is because my teacher said it's time for me to teach and get out there, and here I am. What I want is for people to wake up. What I want is to give the people the tools. I put an incredible amount of information and did not dilute it into these DVDs and the book that I have coming out and all these things that I've done in the last couple of years and kind of taken time away from my family to really manifest in the world. Because it's time for it to be shared in a very undiluted, easy to understand, I speak English and I'm, a smart guy and I'm telling you what I've gathered from all this stuff type of way, right?
Absolutely.
And that's, that's the best, it's the best I can do. I can't enlighten anyone for them, right?
Right.
That's the delusion. Oh, hey, great, will you be my master? No, thank you. No, thank you, right? I'm just a guy.
Isn't the whole point of it for the individual to create the master within?
That's it. You have to mine into your own energy centers, into your own consciousness, and understand what's happening. The master is there and nowhere else. See the dude on the side of the road, you shoot him.
Now, one question I had, when you go into the second CD is Shaolin Basics, and then in the third CD, this one sounds really advanced, sounds very interesting. It's Shaolin Alchemy. Is the Shaolin, is that the same as the movie that used to be made about the Shaolin Priest and everything? Is that the same kind of... that was a dramatization, but could you talk a little bit?
That's very much it. So there was a monk, a famous monk named Bodhidharma, who traveled through the subcontinent of India, possibly through Persia. The origins of where he came from are kind of unclear, but most likely he was an Indian yogi warrior master, right? Traveled through Tibet, landed in China at this monastery, the Shaolin Monastery. Now, Bodhidharma, or in Chinese we call him Damo, he didn't originate the Shaolin Temple. The Shaolin Temple was there, and prior to his arrival, he showed up and then started to really innovate and change things. What happened was these monks who were studying all of these systems, and these monks who were Buddhist by definition at the Shaolin Temple, were incredibly devoted meditators. But when he showed up to this temple, what he saw was a bunch of weaklings. These guys were just sitting there on their butts, meditating, doing their devotional stuff all day, praying, while the bandits were coming into the village, raping the women and children, taking slaves, and just mugging the monks and leaving. And so he said, what is this state of affairs, right?
Right.
So he said, listen, you guys have gotten the Dharma all wrong, right? And it's kind of the same issue I have with the turn the other cheek philosophy in Christianity, because that's a really convenient philosophy for the Roman Empire to perpetuate, the edge of their sword, right? We're gonna do as we wish, but you turn the other cheek, right? It's a great deal, right, for the imperialists in Rome. And so, Damo said basically that's it. You know what? We're shaking things up. He brought in these systems of Qi Gong, and starting to teach them, starting with the 18 hands of the Lohan, which is, the famous Damo's 18. And he started to integrate martial arts training with Qi Gong training, and basically brought these guys to life. These guys became the warrior monks of China. They became the famous Shaolin monks. Yes, and these were the guys in the stories, right? These were the guys who you saw the movies about. Now, there's a lot of there's a lot of dramatization. There's all these guys that say, "Oh, you're a Qigong master. Let me see you fly. Let me see you throw a fireball," and all this kind of stuff. And so, you know what? The West has its dramatizations of superheroes. There's the Green Lantern, and there's Superman, and there's Batman, and then there's reality, which is people who can heal, people who are exquisite martial artists, and people who are awake, right? And so these Shaolin monks were incredible martial artists. They were capable of performing all kinds of amazing feats because of the energy cultivation, mind cultivation as built into the actual temple, which is the human body, right? They started to integrate chi flow, energy flow through the human body, and use that to become this real force to be reckoned with. They became the defenders of good in the ancient world, right? They became, and then, of course, humans can get corrupted, right? What happened was eventually certain monks sided with certain administrations, and kings wanted the temple, they wanted the abbot from the temple to favor them, and, politics.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, exactly. But the essence of this training was the enlightenment training, the mind-body integration practice that is the Qi Gong. And so I've, in volumes 2 and 3, laid out the basics, and then the alchemical practices of the muscle changing, the marrow washing, the tendon changing classics, and taught basically, specific types of dantian, lower abdominal breath locking, to really share with the student how to get this power flowing, right? Now, what you're going to do with that power is your own responsibility, and that's kind of hangs on my head daily. I've kind of given away the sauce here, so I've taught a lot of meditation, I've taught philosophy, and I've taught the things that will help kind of ground people in what this is all about. Because no, I don't want this for some MMA fighters to be able to, get into a cage and beat each other like gorillas better with. That's not what this stuff is designed for.
Right.
It's for self-defense and enlightenment. And so the essence of these Shaolin practices is what I've really kind of imbued inside of volumes 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course that takes an increasing length of time probably to master those. But you start, tell me about the colors. You start out with the yellow. What is the symbology of the colors?
It's yellow I brought on because the vibrant yellow color is really one of the first things that you'll see when people start to get healthy. The yellow, the spleen and the earth system is really what kind of comes online, right? And so what we are working on to build the foundation, if you look at the Indian chakra center, third up from the top, which is kind of fixing the orientation of the chi flow, opening up the meridians and dilating them so that the health is restored back to the system, right? And then what we're doing is then we're moving back to the fundamentals in volume 2, and so we're going kind of root chakra, building the foundation, and working back up to the second chakra in the orange, right? So we're kind of we're shocking the system into waking up a little bit because, let's face it, people are unhealthy. People have been stagnant, right? People sit behind their desks or sit in their cars or their trucks or whatever they're doing on a day-to-day basis. It's, chances are, unless they're really dynamically, being active in some sort of mind-body regimen, is their energy stagnating. So we're using
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, and it's tough. Lance, I just my first book comes out this late this year in winter, coming into spring. It hits the bookshelves, and you can't type a book while standing that easily, and so I am subjected to the same things. I'm just a guy, right? So I definitely, kind of had to buckle down and write this book, and as much Qigong as I want to do, there's just hours and hours a day of sitting and typing. I had to work for a couple months to kind of break some of the stagnation that came in while I was trying to manifest this project. So you have to be mindful of this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Right? It's not easy to stay free-flowing in a world where you can lock into your BlackBerry, your iPhone, and have access to all the information you ever need, and never, never have to move 20 feet if food can get delivered to you.
That's right. We'll be in little pods pretty soon, and we won't ever move. We'll just have little IVs that will feed us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Matrix, the metaphor of the Matrix and how that world looked is actually not too far from the reality.
It's not far from the truth.
No, that's why it's
not
such
far at all.
an incredible movie, right? You look at that and say, "Wow, yeah, I could see that right now."
Absolutely.
early in my career, I worked with children. I had summer camps for children, and I'd work with children who had learning disabilities and ADD and ADHD and all these curse labels, I like to call them. Right? You know, doctor says you have this. Oh, you know, then you know, obviously my kid needs drugs because he's sick. And so we'd teach them Tai Chi and, you know, basically let them be kids and have them climb trees and just, you know, let them get into the right kind of trouble out in nature and kind of figure out, you know, how to not have two left feet. And they'd snap right out of it. They were just kids.